Welcome to the OFX podcast. I'm Dave Claxton. Along with me is our own wicked wizard of the workouts, Bethany McChesney. And we're going to do things a little bit different. Oh, yeah. We're going to do things a little bit different today. We're going to do a little intro here, and then we'll get to our guest later on. So, Bethany, I didn't get to see very much this weekend, so catch me up on the Olympics. What's going on? How's O Canada?
Yeah, so the track and field events have started. There was a lot to look forward to, in my opinion, on the women's side in the track. So with the women's 5,000, we do have one girl through to the final, Andrea Sikafian, which was really interesting because so it's top five in each of the three heats that move on, automatic qualifiers, and then it's the next five fastest. So get this, she was 10th in her heat.
Whoa.
And she's going on. So her heat was so fast that even coming 10th in her heat qualified her for the finals. So that's coming up. And then we had the women's 800. So our golden girl, Melissa Bishop, who was poised to win a medal this year. She was fourth in 2016 and was coming into this season probably in the best shape of her life. And it looks like she tore her hamstring 7 days before the race.
Oh.
Which she didn't mention until after the 800 heats. So we were watching the 800 heats and she had tape on her leg. And if you know Melissa, she's one of these girls who's and she's said this too, she's so fortunate that she's just never had a major injury. And I ran track with her back. And so this was when I was in university, so a long time. And she's just one of her, she said one of the secrets to her success. She's just been lucky, and that's all it is really to it. She also has a perfect efficient form, so that helps. But yeah, so she said they've been trying some new things over the past year and no regrets with that. But yeah, something happened 7 days before the heat. So in the heats, she led her heat. No surprise. I think she has maybe the third fastest time in the world this year. And then when it comes to heat and qualifying rounds, it's all like a sit and kick. And so she just couldn't kick in that last 100. And I was screaming at my TV because she's usually such a good closer. And I was like, what's happening? And then I was like stunned. I was like, oh my gosh, Melissa didn't make it to the finals. Like, I couldn't understand what happened. And then she explained after about the hamstring. And I was like, wow, that's really, really too bad. So Melissa is not moving on. And then the last exciting thing we have is both Gabrielle Stafford and her sister, Lucia Stafford, at her first Olympics, are both going on to the 1,500 meter finals.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And there's tons of other stuff to go on, but basically, you focus on the track. That's your world and everything. I mean, we had tons of stuff with the swimming and everything. So we're not an Olympic podcast. We just touched it a bit. But the one thing, I think we got to mention is Julianne. And
she ran an amazing 5,000. Yeah. And again, it's just so technical. And the other thing, so her time was about 35 seconds slower than she's run. But again, if your heat just goes out slow, and so she was in that heat though, where it went out, it was hard. It went out hard. They had the world record holder in it. And also the temperature is about 35 degrees Celsius.
That's crazy hot.
Yeah, and 100% humidity. And I think some of that got to some of the athletes, and they were saying it did favor the East Africans who train in that a little bit more often. Like some of our athletes even went to heat training camps before this Olympics. So, and Andrea was one of them, Andrea Sikafian. So yeah, but still an amazing, amazing Olympic debut. I know we'll see a lot more coming from Julianne.
All right, so touch on that. And you mentioned, I guess, really reliability, essentially, not breaking down, not getting injured. And we'll jump right to CrossFit, because I watched a ton of CrossFit this weekend. I mean, I think I missed two events. I think I missed two events of the whole.
Wow.
Maybe not the team. I didn't catch all the team stuff. I love the team stuff, but there's just so many people, and it's so much, changes so much. It's so hard to follow. So it's a little overwhelming, especially when they do large heats. But when I was talking about durability, Brooke Wells, and it's not a knock on her durability, but it is scary. Did you actually? I know you didn't see it live. Did you go back and get a chance to see it?
I didn't. I was kind of waiting to see if she had posted anything. I've just been following her stuff, but I haven't seen it. I know it's going to make my stomach turn though, because I've heard about it.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like there's blood and guts or anything, but like she did did the snatch, and her elbow just pops right out of socket and goes on the side, and it just looks limp, and she's lying on there, and I'm like, I've seen it before, and I was just like, oh no, and I bitched about that lift. That's the one lift that has kept me out of CrossFit forever. That I've never wanted to join because of that lift. I just think it's terrifying, and but hopefully she's get better. From the experience that I've seen, she's got a long road of recovery ahead of her. Like, that is not a quick heal. It doesn't matter how strong and how fit you are. That is going to take some time. So all the best to Brooke Wells, and she was doing great. She was having a hell of a competition.
Yeah, it's so hard because so it was a max power snatch, right? And you're doing this under such extreme fatigue. You've done, I don't know which workout number it was, but
it was like 12.
Yeah, so 12 of 15 workouts, and you're super fatigued, and now you have to try to do this incredibly high risk movement. And I don't know, it was just really risky, but I'm not surprised someone got hurt.
No, and the thing is too, it's not only was that the 12th workout, but there were so many lifts prior to that. Like they started low and just kept building. I think they started at 160 pounds and kept going up 5-10 pounds each time. And it was just, like you said, the fatigue set in. And I mean, on a chat on the Discord, one guy said that he thought, and he's a CrossFit guy, he thought that program was just a recipe for disaster, and it was bound to happen that someone was going to get hurt.
Yeah.
So, that was the bad side. Good side. I mean, Tia, utter dominance again. I don't think there's even any discussion anymore about who. Like, I mean, you could have said Fraser and Froning, but no, Tia to me is far and away the best of all time.
Yeah.
No argument.
Untouchable, yeah. And then, Annie Thorsdottir coming third. I
was hoping you'd go there.
I'm like, because she's a mom now too, and it's hard. And she just had a baby like within the last year.
You just play the mom card.
I did play the mom card. I have to. I don't think her baby's turned a year yet, and so like even her qualifying, it was kind of iffy. So. And then she comes out and gets third. And when you see the picture of her when she snatches 200 pounds and the complete shock on her face, that got me emotional. And she said too, this is probably one of the most special moments, like winning this games. And she's won them before. Sorry, not win them, but this podium.
I was watching it with a group of about 5 people, and at least 2 got weepy with her interview at the end of it all. And it wasn't me. I was macho. I was tough.
Yeah. You just don't know,
like, don't blame them. It was so
different cool. Life's going to be after, and like, you don't know. So it was just super awesome to see.
You couldn't help but root for her. I mean, it's so endearing. Like, I'm usually not a guy that falls for the storylines, and I just want to see the competition. But it was just, you couldn't help but get wrapped into it. It was amazing.
Yeah.
And, she was great.
And you had Cara Saunders, who had to pull out because she had COVID. So again, I'm not just the mom thing, but like she would have done very well in this line also. Yeah,
there was a bit of the COVID stuff. I mean, I don't want to get too into it, but it was odd. A little bit of controversy. Whatever. I feel really bad for the people who couldn't make it due to COVID.
Yeah.
Leave it at that. And again, also congrats to Justin Medeiros. I mean, he did great. He was just fantastic, and he seems like such a good young kid.
Yeah, he's young.
Yeah, shitty haircut.
Oh, Dave, now you're giving fashion advice.
I know. I'm sorry. It's just a shitty haircut. So the sad part about him is he's on the wrong side of the border, but. As far as our Canadians go, so first, again, our favorite Caroline. She didn't have a great games. She still ended up finishing 27th, which I'm sure in hindsight she will eventually be happy about. But I'm sure she's a little taken back. But we don't want to talk too much about her because I'm really hoping to have her back on soon to tell us all about her experience. And I haven't even said this to her yet, but I would like to start pushing her for the next Spartan Games. Just saying.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Christy Arama, who was at the Spartan Games, was 8th.
Yeah. Oh, she was great too. She had good one. And so the Canadian thing. Oh yeah, and Sam Briggs too. Sam, running, right? You are a running knowledgeable person. How does Sam run that fast like that?
So Sam has a triathlon background.
He looks like she's trying to injure the concrete.
Oh, I know. She stomped a little, yeah.
Yeah, like she is like an angry rhino coming to kill everybody. I would be, if I was behind Sam and if I could pass it, which I probably couldn't, I would be afraid to. I would feel just gonna
She'd scare you. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean she's awesome. And I
Yeah.
swear I think when she was done, she went to the pub and got in a fight afterwards. But I think she's amazing. She's absolutely amazing. She's just love Sam Briggs. But yeah, the ground
and
needs to be scared.
Showing up year after year. The longevity in her is remarkable.
Oh yeah, I don't see her stopping.
No, why not?
I could see her like she'll keep qualifying as long as she can, and then she'll go to the age group thing, and then she'll be in. Oh, and I loved this. I saw this over 65 on YouTube CrossFit guys.
Wow.
I was just like, that is amazing. So this is my new goal. I will go to CrossFit for the over 65 division when I get there. I'm going to work my way to it. It'll be on. That's 20 years from now. So it's a long-term goal. But
you might have to do a barbell snatch, Dave.
I'll walk out. No, forget it. So Canadian boys, Vellner and Fikowski. I mean, I don't know what you can say other than awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah, it's so great to see 2 Canadian flags on the podium.
And Fikowski obviously fighting injury the whole way. I admit I don't know entirely what was wrong with him, but you could definitely tell he was fighting something. Mm-hmm. And Vellner, just those gimmicky ones, they get him.
Yeah.
And I don't think I don't think that event belongs. I mean, Vellner would have probably screwed up whatever the first event was anyway, because that's what he does. But kayak, really? You know?
Well, it's better than doing a marathon row on a rowing machine.
But at least they practice on rowing machines, right? Like,
no, but from a spectator standpoint, it's
awful. Yeah, but I'm talking about, you're right, and that was very boring to watch.
Yeah.
But it's no wonder they put it on Wednesday. It's like, oh, it was on Wednesday. Nobody saw it. That's okay. No, but it was like, all of a sudden it's like whoever spent their summer camp paddling a kayak has the advantage. It's not like a test of fitness anymore. It's a test who has the random history and what they've thrown out there. I even told Caroline, I said, hey, maybe next year it's going to be an ice skating race and you'll smoke everybody. Like,
wow, yeah.
It just,
yeah.
I think it's stupid when they throw that stuff in. That's just my opinion. Everyone else's is wrong. So, moving along, all in all, great CrossFit games. I enjoyed it. I really did. I was super hyped. So just as well this weekend, Spartan National Series, Asheville. Did you get to watch the coverage and stuff?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Wow. That women's race was intense. I mean, the men's was too, but the women's, you just never knew who was going to win.
No. I was the same way. And when Emma Cook came out flying, I was just like, wow.
Which doesn't surprise me. So she, she has her running background. She ran college track. So it doesn't surprise me she took it out. But I think the girls just knowing this is her first national series race, maybe her first obstacle course race. I'm not even sure. And she's likely, it is her first obstacle course race ever.
Spartan debut.
Wow. Yeah. So, she's she's not going to be super efficient on obstacles. So you kind of have to let her go, do her thing there at the beginning.
You know what though? It almost cost him. Like, I mean, she nailed her obstacle. I don't know. And she's strong, right? Like she is. She's not like you're, just come out of marathon training and, can't do it. She's a strong girl. I think that I think she's got a real future. I think she will pop up.
Oh yeah.
And jump up and be an actual.
Well, Nicole knew what she was doing.
Clearly, I mean, and as she picked good ones. I mean, we already know Ariel is fantastic, and Annie Doobie has pretty much just told everybody, "I'm here."
Yeah. Yeah, and she went for it too this weekend. Like she held the lead for a decent amount of time in this race, also.
Well, until that sprint finish at the end, and then Lindsay took her. And I was surprised at that because I don't think of Lindsay. Like if you said Annie and Lindsay are going to have a sprint to the finish, I actually would have said, "Oh, I think Annie might win that."
I would too. But you know what I think this came down to? I just think Lindsay recovered better after Utah.
Yeah.
And that would just again come from the years doing like the ultra endurance stuff and just the more volume she's had over the years. I don't think if things were different, like let's say this race was 2 weeks ago when it was a sprint, I'm not sure if the outcome might have been the same.
Yeah, and speaking of recovery from Utah, do you think that affected Atkins at all? Because I mean, I picked Atkins to win, but I'm not surprised VJ won, right? Like VJ is very smart, very purposefully for these races. He's not doing the ones that he feels he doesn't have a chance at. He's handpicking to make himself as successful as possible, and that is just smart. Yeah. But so he's coming in fresh. Ryan's coming off a long one. Not a surprise that VJ took it. Mm-hmm. But the fact that Ryan ended up fit, do you think that maybe he was, stretching himself too thin? I mean, we never think he can do that, but.
No, I don't think Ryan was not recovered. Ryan Atkins also did that Fiji race and then came back and did Tahoe and was second. So I don't think he was not recovered. I just think the flat fast running is just it's his kryptonite. So
is the age of specialization finally here?
Yes, it is. Because when you look at these guys, like Chris Brown, he's the one. So he's more of an ultra guy, right? This is This is probably the shocker to me.
Yeah. I wouldn't have picked him even if you told me he was in the race. I wouldn't have had him in top. I would have had him top 10 maybe.
Yeah, maybe. But like VJ, makes sense. Of course, flat and fast. Mark, again, he's a speedster. Like he has a track running background. Yeah, of course. Like you put him on a course that's like a track. Of course. And then same thing, Kempson, Woods, like they're all fast, flat runners too.
Yeah. So, I mean, we've said it lots of times that, you're going to have to specialize and you're going to have to pick your poison.
Yeah.
It looks like it's finally there.
Yeah. Yeah. So you can't be a generalist anymore, or you do. And then these are the races where you're just probably not going to win them because there will be someone who's trained just for this kind of race.
Yeah, and I think Atkins will bounce back on the next one because it's not going to be as flat. I mean, you're looking at I think it's West Virginia, and then you have
Big Bear,
like much more Atkins suited. I think he'll bounce.
And he does most of his training, especially off season, is on the bike. So you don't see him running a whole lot of interval training on even roads. He's on the trails a lot. So
he even went out and did a bike race the next day.
Yeah, so did Lindsay. Yeah.
They and then you can't account too either what it takes out of them right now trying to get there. In Quebec right now, it's just so difficult and so time consuming and stressful that.
That's true. That's that's a lot of travel.
Yeah, and Lindsay apparently doesn't do well on small planes, just from her stories.
She gets quite sick.
All right, so let's move on and we'll get to our guest and let's get to it. So welcome our guest today, Sebastien Corbiel. And I think technically you'd be the president, the owner, the grand poobah of RX1.
Pretty much, yeah. President and co-owner of it, yeah.
Okay. So the big reason we wanted to have you on, especially today, actually, let's do this just before we get into that. Why don't you explain to some people exactly what RX1 is and just kind of how long you've been around? Because some of the people listening might not be familiar with it because we have some fans in the States and all over the place. So,
well, we've been it's been 9 years that we exist. We used to be under the name of Blackout Race. We changed to RX1 Nation about 4 or 5 years ago. So so it'll be our 9th years that we're into the business. And basically what RX1 is it's a series of events that we have over the course of the summer, let's say April all the way to about July. We have different city across the province that host events. And in each of these events, basically you're accumulating points to try to make your team win or your individuals. Either or, like you could you can make points for your individual, you can make points for your team. And so you carry points and you, qualify in different cups for the Grand Cup finals that we have each year in August. So the usually what the race is about is between 4 to 7 kilometers. And you'll see anywhere between 10 to 12 stations of functional training. So it could be weightlifting, it could be any kind of gymnastic, a lot of carry, tire flips, burpees. So anything you can think of functional exercise, we put it into our race.
Go ahead, Beth, were you saying something?
So then your race then, how is it different than an obstacle course race?
Well, it's different in a way that we don't have anything that basically we don't have it. You're not going to get dirty on our race. You know, that's the first thing. Thing is pretty much nice and clean unless the weather is really bad. That's number one. Number two, we don't have any obstacle like monkey bars or any kind of rigs that you guys use in obstacle race. We don't have any of that. This doesn't necessarily mean that we're never putting any. Sometimes it does happen that we put some in, but it's definitely not that's not a regular thing into our race. You'll see walls once in a time, but it's not something that we regularly see in our race.
One of the things that I like about now, so just so you know, man, so here we talk about a lot of Hyrox, a lot of Dekafit. I know you're really familiar with those things. So we have finally coined a phrase. We call it hybrid racing, and okay. You guys are right in the niche of that. And I would say, and I would argue that you guys are the originator of it because you have been around the longest.
Yeah.
So maybe you want to tell people what separates you from a Hyrox or from a Dekafit? Why are you guys different? Now, I know the answer, you know, but I don't want to wreck it for everybody.
No, it's okay about it. The main team thing, you know, we've built this company on teams, you know. So yes, you do have individual championship, just like any other events do have. But us, we build it a bit like the NHL or the NFL. We build it with teams because that's number one on the list that makes us different than the others. So you're recruited from teams. You're part of a team. You make points that goes to your team, you know, to win cups. It's a different atmosphere where you're. If you decide not to show up one day, it's going to cost your team. So you cannot just decide to, you know what, this Saturday I don't really feel like it. Screw my $80. And no, you got to show up, otherwise the team's going to lose points if you're not there, you know. So so it makes you feel like you're really part of the family, and the beauty with it, and we don't know why that happened, but it ended up happening like that. But teams don't hate each other; they actually love each other. Each team, you know, so they all suffer the same way. So they all understand each other at the event, and they kind of suffer that they live through the event. So they end up encouraging each other, you know, instead of battling against each other. So it becomes one big nation, one big family.
So then how then are the teams formed? So if I wanted to race an RX1, I can race as an individual, but if I wanted to join a team, how would I do that?
Well, you could race as an individual if you want to. There's nobody that I'll tell you an example. Out of 300, let's say, runners, we'll have maybe 5, 6, 7 that will run without a team. All the other ones are part of teams. There's no, how can I say that? Usually what we try to do is more people having built team, you know, rather than actually joining teams, you know. So example, let's say you were to do one, you try it out, you like it. You know what? Let me bring some friends and I'll create a team. You know, the minimum in the team is 2 persons. So you could be 2, 3, 4, and you could start forming your team. Obviously, you have less chance to win being 2, 3, or 4 because we go as high as 15 in the team. But quickly, I mean, you like it? Okay, you know what? Let me call Dave and why don't we build a team, call whatever you want to call it. And then you sign up as that team and you end up slowly but surely building your team. And what we did is we created different cups that we have. There's 4 different cups that you can win at Rx1 Nation. And each of the cups are for the different levels of teams. So what you do is in your season, the points that you gather in the season, let's say you guys are only 4 or 5 in your team, so you obviously don't make many points. Well, you're going to end up in the 4th cup, you know, in the weakest cup that we have, but you'll still at least have a chance to win something, even if your team is not built completely like the other ones.
But you know, Beth, from my experience, here's how it actually works. Okay, this is what happens. So if you're good, which, you know, I don't know if I have never introduced you actually, Sebastien, to Beth. Bethany's a Spartan Pro. She's like a running machine.
Okay.
She's like nice. Good. So what happens is you do good, and then someone on an RX1 team calls you and says, hey, we need you on our team. And
that happens often.
Yeah. So it happened to me and my wife. So Karine, she called me and she said, we need you on our team. And I'm like, I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. What's in it for me? So she owes me $60,000 in signing. So Karine, if you're hearing this, you can just make that as a cashier's check, or I'll take direct deposit. Anything's good. And that's 60,000 for the two of us, only 30 grand a piece. It's good. It's a good deal. So, yeah, no, but seriously, from my experience, the teams want you, and yeah, building your own team is great. And the team thing is so cool because, like you say, everybody, no matter how good or maybe lower level or whatever division you're in, is important and puts forth to it. So, and that's one thing. Maybe Seb, tell us about the different, let's call it abilities, the different divisions.
Yeah, so, we have different categories. That's another thing that separates us from the others. Is we have what we call a discovery category, which is people that are afraid of the product, don't know if they're good or not, or they already know that they're not in tip top shape to do that, but they still want to do it. So we have that what we call the discovery category. This is new this year. They don't count into points. They don't have either. They're there to discover the product. So basically a bit like the open, I believe you call it in the OCR. And then after that, we have the amateur category, intermediate, expert, and the pro category. So those are the different categories that we have. Obviously, we have also the age categories, but it allows a different kind of runners to come and participate. So if a guy or girl is very, very strong, very agile, could go into expert or pro, I mean, depending on their level, and have a good fight. If it's someone that is not really that strong, but very endurance, a lot of cardio, good running, it's probably be better into intermediate level. So then that way it's going to be running also against very, very fast runners, but runners are not too strong. So all these categories caters to different kinds of potential clientele.
So what's the best way to figure out where you should go for your first one, say?
Well, on the website, it tells you if you go on the under categories, you can see pro, what kind of weights you have to lift, what kind of weights you have to lift, and intermediate, the same thing. So already with the kind of weights that you have to lift, that was already going to tell you, okay, you know what, I've never did a deadlift more than 225 pounds. So I'm better off going to this category. I've never did any lifting at all. So might as well go into the lowest one. Let's go and try it out, see how I do. Okay, it was easy, but the next time I'm going to move up to another category.
Now you went through, and we'll get to the upcoming race, the upcoming finals. We'll get to that in a bit, but let's just kind of go how you guys worked your way through 2020 and through COVID, because I mean, that was difficult for everybody and for any host event. How did you guys work your way through that?
Well, I mean, like any business, that was a big slap in the face. You know what happened? And the first thing that we had to tackle is we have values at RX1 that they're very deep rooted, last 8 to 9 years, and we have value that we how can I say that we couldn't, like many companies, they kept money, they didn't give the money back to the runners. We couldn't do it, like it was we had an obligation, a personal value obligation that, what, I mean, you guys you're through the pandemic, you're missing money. I mean, it's tough times. The law was saying it too. You need to give back the money, and this and that. So we followed a certain protocol, where we gave a date, until that date, you can ask for a refund if you want a refund. If not by that date, then it will be postponed to next year and this and that. So we did our due diligence, and so that was rough, because right away, I mean, like any business will know, if you had to reimburse races that were sold for the upcoming season, and that happened pretty much right before our season. I mean, it hurts you, so, but at least it felt good to sleep at night, knowing that, we did the right thing and we're comfortable with this. And the whole team was like that. It was not just me, but it was the whole team that was comfortable with that decision. And then from there, we said, what? Okay, now now we dig ourselves a hole in a way. Let's get out of it. So Mathieu, a guy that works with us, I mean, had the brilliant idea of renting our equipment. We have a 53-footer and a 48-footer full of equipment that was sitting out there doing nothing. So, and gyms were closed. So we rented out our equipment throughout the pandemic. That helped us out, like we got good cash flow from that. So that helped us out through that. And then after that, we created all kind of virtual events, because the main thing, we don't want people to forget RX1. That was the most important thing. It was not really making money out of it, but let's make sure throughout the year, which we thought it would be a year, that turned out to be 2 years, but let's make sure that they don't forget us, So we did events and hybrid events, virtual season throughout that thing. I mean, it was maybe 15% of our people that actually participated in that, but that 15%, I mean, is the core of our RX1 Nation. Those are the ones that have been there forever, So, and those are the ones we don't want to lose mainly. So that keeps us afloat throughout, So we never lost contact with our nation, with our people. And then as we're able to do the final that is coming up, and then we saw all that work, fruiting, because even people that weren't participating into the virtuals are now signing up again, and will be part of that final. So that's how we went through the pandemic.
Yeah, and I can tell you, like, participating in some of the virtual events, you guys put on some of the best ones. And I was a bit of a virtual event snob. I did a ton of them, and then if it was shit, I'd tell you, because there was some shit. No, there were. That. I mean, we saw them. They were crap. But you guys
did all of the virtual events.
I had to do something. I got all that home space and gyms in my garage, in my living room. I had to do something with it.
Yeah. And I first heard about RX1 through virtual competitions. So yeah, so your name, actually, that's the first time I heard of you. So it was probably a little bit more than just servicing your core. And I think what you described, it was kind of the way it was too. I'm a gym owner, and you're doing all these things, trying to keep people engaged, and your online classes, and it's still probably only that 15% anyways. That's just kind of how it is. I think if people don't have something where they're physically attending and they're there and they have people with them, that's just probably what the 85% does anyways.
Yeah, exactly.
So there was one other thing that actually I wanted to put out there, and I just wanted to make sure I get in there before we move on. One of the things that does separate you from, say, a Hyrox and Deca, and this is something that I have heard people complain about at those events, like we love those events, we're big fans. They're the same every time.
Yeah.
You guys are different every time. So
we've never done a single race the same ever.
Yeah. So, if you're one of those people who's like, oh, I don't want to do hybrid racing because it's the same all the time. See that? I snuck that in there again. I will always say it. Yeah. So it's like, I don't want to do the same one all the time. I want variety. I want to be surprised. Blah, blah, blah. You guys change it up all the time. And the other question, actually, quickly, what do you do in the bad weather? What do you do in the rain?
We do it anyways. The only thing change when it's training time, it's sometimes like pull-ups and things we have to do on the rig. If it's too dangerous, then we have to modify the workout to the last minute. But otherwise, just like soccer, just like football, you play in the rain. We did in the snow. We did often in the snow, because the race in April, early April, we never know the kind of weather. So it did happen that we had to be in the snow. So anything, it's climate change, and you got to get ready for it.
You guys have that winter race too, don't you? You have like the
24-hour winter race that we do. In January of every year. Yeah.
In January in Quebec.
Yeah, in Quebec. I think this year will be in Gatineau, if I don't mistake. Gatineau, Ottawa area. But it's a 24-hour event. It's lightweight. We don't do heavy weights in that one. It's light. It's amateur to intermediate type of weights. But it's a 24-hour. And we have also, it's called the White Fury, the Fury Blanche in French. And a part of that 24 hours also done outside. So some people actually do sign up and spend the 24-hour outside. So they sleep within their round, they sleep outside, and they go do their rounds and sleep outside again. So pretty crazy people that come do that.
You ready to go? You want to do it?
The 24-hour one or the regular?
Both.
So when you the way your race is set up, though, all of the stations, the workout stations, are in the spectator area, and then they run and come back. Is that how that works?
Yeah, exactly. Every little station is in front of fans and teams. It's something we learned quick at the beginning. We used to let's go put something on the top of the mountain. So that was kind of cool for the runner to do it there, but then it was a lot of work for us and nobody could see it. So we ended up like doing everything now close to the festival zone. So most of the time it's either going to be a lot of station at the beginning, a run, and then a lot of station at the end, or all the station at the beginning and then you finish with a run, or you run first and you finish all the stations. So we kind of go like that. When we have access to mountain, then we could do, you go run, come back in the middle, do your station, go run, come back. So it's easier with a mountain. So it's a variety of that we...
so the running is also different throughout.
Oh, yeah. Every time, sometimes you'll get a 4-kilometer run on asphalt. Sometimes you'll get a 7-kilometer run in trails. Sometimes we'll be on stones. I mean, it's all kind of feel that we do. We did sand often. We went to sand pits. So you're running in sand the whole time. You never touch even the regular road. So all kind of climate that we get and kind of land.
So then that's also a pretty big difference with Deca and Hyrox, because even the run intervals are always different.
Yeah, no. Us, they're never the same. Never.
See, I deliberately didn't tell Bethany any information before this.
Okay.
I'm really liking it so far, because everything that because the stuff that I love, the things that about OCR, that same thing where I don't like that with high racing, you are doing the same thing every time. So I'm like, that's really cool. But then you get the mix of the OCR being outside. It's kind of like the best of both worlds. You knew I got it.
Yeah, no, I know. I know what I'm doing.
We kind of built that first because, I mean, Spartan came before us. The CrossFit Games were there before us. And we kind of like both, you know. We like what we're seeing from everything that the obstacle race do. And we like everything that CrossFit does. So we kind of wanted to find kind of in the middle because, I mean, a lot of people are not crazy CrossFit people, and then others are not just crazy obstacles. So there's a population in the middle that is kind of stuck on, I'm good at this, I'm good at that, but I'm not great at any of it. But if they're together, I'll be great at that, you know. And that's what we're finding out right now. And only that, one of the most sorry, my English sometimes I don't speak as often. And but one of the most sport that people practice a lot is going to the gym. You know, like how many people that we know, like there's thousands and thousands of people that go to the gym 3-4 times a week without really any other purpose than either staying healthy, losing weight, or gain muscle. You know, but at one point, losing weight and gain muscle, you know how it is. People get tired of it. I mean, they feel like they hit walls and walls and they give up, and then they go again and then they give up. But now having a sport where every time you go to the gym, it's because you have a race in a month. You have a race in 2 months. You have a race in 3 months. Oh, I'm in my off season. I got to get stronger because I was weak. I got to get my cardio better because my cardio was bad last season. All of a sudden, there's a purpose to go to the gym every single day or every 2 days, whatever, other than just gaining weight, muscle-wise, or losing fat. And what happens at the end is people end up losing weight, end up gaining muscle because they were thinking of their sport. They weren't thinking of the actual losing weight and gaining muscle. Same thing with running. I've never ran my life, ever.
It's true.
But now Rx1, you know, I need to get ready. I'm part of a team too. I got to run. I'm obligated. The team is depending on me to do something good. So I got to run. So it forces me to do something that I would have never done just because I'm part of a team, you know, and I have objectives to get to.
So and we'll stick with the team thing for a minute. So when you're making a team, right? You're making a team or you're picking a team, and then you have all these divisions. You got pro, you got intermediate, you got your amateur, your junior, right? How do you value each one? So I mean, is like, say, is first place in pro going to get you more points than first place in junior, or how does that work?
Exactly. Basically, we kind of build it like the NHL. So every team has a salary cap. Okay, let's put any numbers. Let's say $30. Okay, so right now for the final, that's what it is. Okay, so each team is allowed to spend $30 and a maximum of 15 players in the team, 15 athletes. A pro is worth $4, an expert $3, intermediate $2, and amateur and juniors are worth $1. So a captain, what it does, it builds a team of pros, intermediate, juniors, amateur, as long as he doesn't pass that $30. So he's allowed up to 15 athletes, but he cannot pass the value of $30. So that creates a balanced league. You don't end up with a team that has only pros and then they win every single time. Everybody's capped at $30. So even if in my team I have 5 pros, people want to come in my team, they're pros. Sorry, I can't take you because I'm going to bust. You know, I'd have too many pros, so go find another team. So it keeps a nice balance that way.
So what if, let's say I race pro, but I want to be on your team, I'm willing to go down and race amateur?
Well, that could happen, but I mean, it's something that the committee of discipline, we're probably going to be like, okay, Bethany, sorry, but we can't allow it. You know, you're a pro.
So people don't jump. People don't jump around divisions.
They do change category, but it will be from pro to expert. Let's say someone that is pro but finished always last, has a hard time, gets an injury, will go down into expert. The opposite. An expert that is way too good. I mean, he's winning every race. We politely talk to him and say, listen, buddy, I mean, you're ready for pro now. You know, why don't you make the jump and try it out, you know? And honestly, I mean, 9 years and we've never had a single issue with someone not racing in a proper category or force the opposite, racing into a too high category and looking stupid and want to stay there. People are smart, you know, they invest, they pay money to be there, and they want to have a good race. They don't want to feel like they finished 10 minutes ahead of second place. I mean, what's the pride in that and the joy of it? You know, they rather say, you know what, okay, I'm going pros, I'm going to finish last, but then I'm going to climb up in the pros, you know. That's better objectives for them.
So you hear that, everybody? No sandbagging sacks of shit in RX1. We will not have it. No sandbagging, no doubt.
You never know.
Yeah. So rumor has it this weekend you have a big race finally, and this is going to be your first live event coming back, right? So what's going on this weekend?
Well, I mean, it's the 7th of August is this Saturday. It's what we call our Grand Cup final. So it's the end of the season. All the cities. I mean, right now we have 5 different cities that compete, which is Ottawa. Ottawa gets snow together. We have the Eastern Township, the Sherbrooke area, Quebec, the Montreal area, and the Trois-Rivières Repentigny area. So it's 5 cities, 5 regions and province that are competing at that cup final. So they're coming there. All the teams from each of these cities are coming to the final, and they have qualified through the virtual season in different cups. And now they're coming to the final to win these cups. So all the best teams are there. All the best athletes are there. Plus, whoever didn't participate is also allowed to come. So we have all these athletes. We have about 125 athletes that will be there that didn't even participate into the regular season. So they're there for the fun of it. You know, they'll make points and everything, but they cannot win any cups or any plaques of championship for the season. But they'll be there at least to participate and live the product. So that's this weekend. It's in the Rigaud, Collège Bourget de Rigaud. It's going to run from 9 a.m. all the way to about 5 p.m. that we have starts. And after that, we have end of the year party between 6 and 8 o'clock. Yeah.
I didn't know that part. Okay, 6 to 8 o'clock, we got a party.
Yep.
Okay. So, yeah, we're definitely going to be there. Super excited about it. I did see you put some really handsome people on a post to promote it, and I very much applaud your choice. Good looking people. Yeah. So we have our little crew coming. Yeah, we have our little crew coming from Toronto. Really looking forward to it. And everyone other than myself, this will be their first time, so they're very excited. Maybe, just maybe, if you'd like, you could give us a bit of a hint at like what the course might be like, what we might see.
Hey, you're squeezing me now, huh?
Yeah, well, that's what I got to do.
Night, everything's coming out Wednesday night. But for the people that are listening, well, first of all, we invested $50,000 into that event this coming Saturday. We're rebranding Rx1 Nation. I mean, we've been on that for the last 6 months. We've been working with a marketing company. We're rebranding the whole thing, and it's the big unveiling of our new branding. The name stays the same. The logo is similar, but there's little tweaks to it. But so we're unveiling our new branding this Saturday. So you'll see. I think it's about 20,000 square foot of different banners that will be plastered all over the place. We did that under the thematic of a Viking, Scandinavian type of atmosphere that you'll live on this Saturday. We have also about 20, if I don't mistake, different media that will be there with cameras and photographs. So we have a big crew that want to immortalize that day. We also have, it's going to be our first time finally after all these years we were able to do that, but we'll have actual real referees. So we hired paid salary referees. So every athlete will be judged one by one. So in the every zone that you'll have carries to do, it's a referee's a bit like hockey, or that kind of overs that looks at everyone, if they do a mistake throwing equipment and things like that. But when it comes to the rep zone, then when you'll come in, Dave, one referee will be with you and will stay with you until all the reps zones are done. And then that referee comes back and takes the next athletes to come in. So that will be special. They're all dressed up like NFL and NHL, like with the black and white lines. I mean, they're pretty obvious referees when you get there. And we did it with pretty much an old-fashioned Rx1 Nation. It's a lot of people, they haven't raced in a long time, so we don't want to do something too complicated, too technical for that event. So we went pretty much simple. So in large, people are going to go to station 1 and we'll have rowing to do. After that, they'll have 100-yard rope pull to do with a sled. So a sled pull on 100-yard. They're going to have a 100-yard sled push as well. So once you pull the sled, you'll have to push it back to where it was. After that, it will be followed by about a 4.4 kilometer run, mostly in trails. You'll follow this with tire flips. We have fire hose pull. After that, we have what do you call that? Brouette in English. Brouette.
The mystery. No.
You hold a wheelbarrow. Wheelbarrow transport to do. You'll have a slam ball throw, and then you'll have 2 stations of weightlifting, one with a superset of surrenders with clean, and you'll finish with a triplet of fat rope, toes to bar, or knee to chest, depending on the category, and wall balls before you run to the finish line.
I'm super excited because you did not say double unders.
Oh, well, no.
No, you, that's it. We're blinded here. That's it. There is none.
Oh, we asked on Facebook. We had a quiz about 2 weeks ago. I was asking, what's the station you hate the most on Rx1 you don't want to see, at the final? And people kept writing, we don't want to answer that because you'll be putting it into it if we answer it. So we ended up the 2 popular questions were the surrender and the flying burpees. So we decided not to put any flying burpees in.
Awesome. It sounds amazing. I'm really looking forward to it. So if anyone wants to sign up, and this is, and I mean, nobody's perfect, obviously, and this has been a bit of an issue for, I'm sure you've had in your efforts of expansion. It is difficult for us who are not educated enough to speak French as well. So right now, how do we sign up? And I mean, I think you said that this is changing as well with the near future.
Yeah, exactly. So right now, if you go right away into the www.rx1nation.com website, right on, as soon as you open the page, you have the billetterie. You click on it, and then from there you could do your sign up. There's an English button that you can go through. I have to admit, it's not. You went through it, Dave. It's not 100% English friendly. Let's put it that way. Our new website is coming in. We're opening Monday or Tuesday of next week. So that's where we're a bit late in the plan, but we have a new website coming in the next week or 2, let's say. And this one will be 100% English functional. Every single information on the website, French, English. Everything will be there, 100% French and English friendly, 100%.
I think that's going to be the key to your guys' expansion.
Yeah, it is. It's been a battle for many years, and so we finally hired a company that will help us out, making sure that everything stays bilingual, basically through expansions.
Yeah. Are you going to carry that over to Instagram and stuff like that as well? Because I see some great posts, and we want to see it. We want to see more, but. It sounds silly, but
it's also the goal right now.
Yeah.
Right now, the battle is whether do we do post French one time and English another time, or do every time we write the French and the English? Mm-hmm. It is sometimes the space on a picture to write both languages. There's not enough space. You're always lacking, or you have to shorten your message, and it won't be the right message. So it's a bit of debate that we have right now with the marketing company, but that's part of the plan. Again, in a week or 2, we'll be starting to work on these kind of stuff, but we still haven't decided exactly whether Do we go, let's say, Instagram 100% English and we keep our Facebook French? Do we go half and half? Or that's still part of our decision making? Because I find it's easier for an English company to say we're English 95% everywhere. For Quebec, let's do it French just for Quebec. But now we're stuck with a different thing where right now 95% of our client is in French, but then the world is in English outside. So do we go almost all English and then we lose how can I say, we lose our French values that we have, our French roots, that we have here? Or anyway, that's still debates that we have inside, but that's about to be fixed.
From my perspective, as much as I want to see everything in English because I'm illiterate, you got to keep your roots. You got to hold on to what you guys are. And I think that's probably most important for especially your core clientele. I think just my opinion. I think you need to.
Yeah. Oh, there's one thing for sure that it's I don't think we'll ever be when let's say you show up to a race in Montreal that the person that speaks on the micro will be speaking French and English. I mean, we're probably going to keep it French when it comes to that, but our expansion plans are it's Ontario, it's the whole East Coast of the United States. We're with the lawyers right now. We'll be the first company that will franchise the product. So basically we will have an event and a sports events that will be franchised. So example, someone from Florida could buy the franchise of Miami for Rx1 Nation, basically. So right now we're finishing all this with the lawyers at this moment. And obviously all these places will be 100% English. I mean, it will get easier and easier because we'll go on the website and everything will be in English because we'll have more cities in English and we'll have some in French, So eventually that inevitably you'll see always more English and you'll see French, but we want to make sure that if you come in Quebec to actually do the race in Quebec, then you'll feel like, okay, I'm somewhere else, like I'm in Quebec and it's French,
Yeah. Any going to be any streaming, like any live stream of the event at all? You guys going to have it up?
We did it last year, live streaming. And it was cool because people actually wrote to us saying I'm having breakfast and I'm watching it, but obviously we don't quite have the technology to have a live streaming where you can actually follow your friends, or your partners. It's more a live streaming that is far behind. You kind of see little ants, running everywhere. So we're planning on still doing that thing on YouTube on our channel to have the live stream. But I wouldn't say that's the right place to go and kind of feel the vibe. I wouldn't say that. Where you'll feel the vibe though is on our Facebook page, Rx1 Nation. Don't put anything else. Rx1 Nation on our Facebook page. We'll have every hour and a half, we'll have an actual live that will give an update on what's happening at the race. So that's probably the best way to actually follow what's going on the day of the race.
All right. So I got one more thing for you to do.
Yep.
I want you to sell Bethany. All right. You got to sell her and tell her why she should commit her training time to get ready for RX1, why she should commit to coming there and maybe winning an expert division.
It's probably the easiest way to, you're probably already great at what you do and everything, but what we've noticed over the years is obstacle runners that came to do RX1, when they went at their race, they did amazingly better than they used to do. If it's someone that used to finish 3 or 4, ended up finishing 1 or 2nd. I'm not lying to you. I mean, I could send you a list of people like that they did a race and then they would come back to a regular obstacle race and they would do so much better at it just because they trained differently for our race and it became an asset, a very good asset into the obstacle race as well. So, I mean, depending on how great you are, if you're already number 1 and everything, then it's hard for me to sell it to you. But if you end up finishing 2nd, 3rd, or 4th often, then doing RX1 could help you climb out of the charts.
Nice. That's a good sales pitch. I like it. I'm there. Just not this weekend.
So that's all I have for you, Sebastien. Bethany, do you have anything else for Sebastien?
No, I don't. Thanks so much for joining us. That was great to learn about your event.
You're more than welcome, and thank you for hosting me. That was very nice of you.
It's not too late. You can still go RX1 Nation, sign up. Am I correct? We still can sign up?
Yeah, we're good until tomorrow night, midnight.
All right. Have a great one, guys.